Are you concerned disinformation could affect Canada's next election?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because I think most people are not getting their news from credible sources where the journalism is balanced and corroborated.
It already does.
Tell me why. Tell me what you mean.
Well, I mean, I think that it's a long story, but I think that we've sort of moved away from politics that actually looks at political issues in a lot of ways. Like, I think the way that people blame Trudeau for everything is quite silly, and like, I don't really like Trudeau, but I also don't think he's responsible for absolutely everything. And I feel that's like a very worrying trend where there's sort of an unwillingness to look at issues and to actually just say like, no, it's this one guy doing everything. So it's one example. Yeah.
Yes, I do believe so. Because of, talking heads that are also probably unaware and probably also making their points based on, disinformation. You have politicians that feed off of that and then throw their nonsense back and forth at each other without actually doing anything. And then people also feed back on that. So it causes like a loop of disinformation.
That's a wonderful question. I think it comes down to having a rational mind, and not only that, but being able to having a good critical thought process and balancing out different sources of media. So if you're one who typically adheres to one source, I'd say it's possible to be swayed by misinformation, of course, depending on the source of media you choose. Disinformation. So in terms of legacy media, usually you can have some in terms of statistics. You'll have some reliable information there, but it really depends. There's so many different sources of media out there nowadays. But yeah, it's good if you have it in the back of your head to keep out for. Yeah, you should be fine.
Depends on the viewers if they're able to discern whether or not, that is disinformation, what their understanding is of particular situations and how things can be seen in different lights, and, having the bigger picture of things, depends on the viewers as well.
Absolutely. Because people aren't doing their due diligence in fact-checking the information that they're gathering. We're seeing it with protests that are even happening and boycotting that's happening. So you can't just believe what you hear, you have to do your due diligence.
Definitely. I think we've seen that already happen in previous elections in other countries, so the same could be said for ours.
Yes. Because there's so much of it out there, and people don't really have a good grasp of what's going on, especially younger people. I don't understand that they're getting civics in school anymore like we did when I was in school. So, yeah, I don't think they necessarily understand.
Certainly, disinformation can always, I know people can be swayed pretty easily, and you want to bring forward the right information for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it has been for a long time, hasn't it? Worried. I mean, I think we're always worried. It's a scary time that we're living in.
Yes, today with the media, and particularly with social plans and media and stuff, there's all kinds of stuff that can be posted that is in an attempt to try and convince someone. I find also sometimes too that there's a certain bias within even the media, because at a time when the media tend to reflect both sides of a story, now they tend to depend on only one side, and they may not get the other side of the story, and that's not properly reflected or communicated back to the person who is being informed.
You can see it right across the globe. You see what happens with the news in the United States and the news here. You're always concerned about the information you receive. You just hope it's honest, factual, and you can make a decision based on the true facts.
So disinformation is very prominent all over Canada, and I do feel that it will affect the next election because people aren't sure what is truth and where to find out what is truth. So I am concerned that there is false information being spread and that it will be hard for Canadians to discover what is truth and what is not.
There are people out there with a lot of garbage that are convincing people of something that they're pulling the wool over people's eyes, and to me that's scary. That's very scary. And with the next election, sometimes people think that they want to be something like the Americans, and some people are saying that somebody's too liberal and somebody's too conservative. And to me, it's all about the person, what the person espouses.